Welcome to Starbound, where every star tells a story. What happens when desperate aliens, tracked by a sinister race desperate to capture them, crash lands on Earth? And will humanity protect their new surprise guests? Let's get into the story. In the galactic sprawl where countless stars shimmered with the promise of life, the Fass were a whisper of a species, gentle, doe-eyed creatures who shied away from conflict. Their small, moss-covered world of Iridia nurtured a philosophy of peace and connection. Yet, hidden within their timid frames was a secret that would shatter their tranquility. The galaxy, it turned out, was a far crueler place than the Fass had dreamt. A single Fass scout vessel, returning from a routine cartography mission, brought devastation. In its communication logs lay the horrifying discovery. Their blood, when ingested by certain alien species, induced a state of supreme euphoria. It was a siren call that ignited the greed of countless light years. The collectors, they were called, pirates, mercenaries, even reputable galactic empires, warped into monstrous parodies of themselves under the blood-induced high. Fass ships were torn from the sky, peaceful Iridia ravaged. Those who resisted were slaughtered, their bodies carelessly discarded in the relentless pursuit of the next fix. The Fass, with their meekness and small numbers, were lambs amidst the wolves. Captain Alara was no warrior, merely a scholar and a healer, yet fate had thrust the command of a battered survey vessel into her trembling hands. Behind her, a handful of survivors, scientists, botanists, their eyes wide with terror. Ahead lay the unknown, the vast emptiness of space where death lingered around every asteroid. Iridia is gone. Alara's voice quivered, every word like a shard of glass in her throat. Their sanctuary, their verdant world, was reduced to cinders. They were the last, a dying ember of their species. The comms officer, a young male named Talir with luminous green eyes, flickered a signal on the half-shattered display. Picking up erratic readings, Captain. Unidentified. It could be the collectors. Hope flared within Alara, fragile and desperate. What if it was another Fass ship? Then flickered out as the signal pattern materialized, a cluster of alien warships like a swarm of predatory beetles against the starfield. There was only one path left. Run. Their vessel groaned, pushing ancient engines beyond their limits. Even amidst the chaos, the human concept of adrenaline was foreign to Alara. Fass biology didn't cater to panic. Their bodies instead shut down, conserving energy. Her heart drummed a sluggish dirge. We're losing them. A flicker of relief sparked on Talir's face until the ship shuddered violently, a sickening lurch that threw them to the floor. Weapons fire, shields failing. Talir's voice was barely a whimper now. Alara forced herself up, a wave of bitter determination sweeping away the numbing despair. Set course, random coordinates, engage the emergency jump. It was a desperate gamble, flinging themselves blindly across the galaxy. Better the unknown than the collector's dissection tables. Space warped and buckled around them. Light stretched into infinity as the stars blurred, resolving into a swirl of unfamiliar constellations. The battered remains of their ship materialized with a groan, tumbling uncontrollably through the void. Warning systems blared in protest, panels spitting sparks as the lights flickered and died. Talir's choked voice pierced the darkness. Planet. Dead ahead. Atmosphere breathable. Desperation fueled a final, reckless maneuver. There was no controlled landing, no careful descent. Theirs was a flaming comet streaking across the heavens, plunging through layers of cloud and flame. Metal screamed in protest as the hull tore against unforgiving rock and soil, until the broken vessel ground to a shuddering halt. Silence fell, deafening after the chaos. Alara blinked, slowly taking in the scene. A desolate landscape of wind-carved stone, a sky stained orange by an alien sun. Are we alive? She ventured, her voice barely above a whisper. Talir stirred, a bruised hand against his forehead. Then, a miraculous sound. Laughter. Weak, bubbling with delirious relief. It would seem so. The survivors crawled out from the wreckage, battered and dazed, but breathing the sweet, untainted air of a foreign world. Their escape had been narrow, their survival a fragile, improbable thing. The ship lay sprawled across the dusty ground like a broken bird, its ruined engines a testament to their desperate gamble. Ilara's gaze swept wide, taking in the bleak beauty of the landscape. We have food, minimal medical supplies, enough to last. Her voice trailed off, unwilling to voice the bleak calculations. Even if they found sustenance on this barren rock, the collectors would never stop hunting. They were out of time, out of options. The wind carried a strange sound, a low rumble that vibrated through the earth. Ilara's head snapped up, fur bristling. Alien footsteps approached, but what they saw was so unexpectedly mundane that it sent a flicker of bewildered hope through her. It was a vehicle, blocky and ungainly, moving over the rough terrain on thick wheels. Inside, sheltered behind transparent panels, were beings. Upright, humanoid figures, like the Fass but so startlingly different. Taller, broader, and their skins unadorned by fur in shades of brown and tan. Their eyes, fixed intently on the crashed spaceship, were a startling shade of blue. One gestured, then uttered a string of sounds. "Hello? Are you all right?" The voice boomed, amplified through their crude vehicle. An older scientist, Lara, hissed in alarm. "Be cautious! They could be just as dangerous!" But Ilara took a hesitant step forward. The word hello held such simple intent, echoing the Fass's greeting rituals. Could this barren world, so unlike their lush Iridia, harbor a species capable of kindness? We come in peace," Ilara responded, her voice halting. Her translator device croaked, spitting out a rough approximation of the unknown language. She held her hands open, the universal gesture of surrender. And for one long, excruciating minute, she waited. The blue-eyed being stepped from the vehicle, one hand cautiously outstretched. Others followed, their faces a curious mixture of concern and wariness. They were wrapped in strange fabrics, and some carried primitive tools, metal sticks, perhaps for digging or defense. "Name's Tom," the leader said, his voice gruff but oddly comforting. "You folks don't look like you're from around here." Tom. It was a simple, unadorned name. Yet, in his tone, Ilara detected a flicker of understanding. They were far from home, crashed on a foreign world, and these strangers recognized that simple truth. "We come from far away," Ilara said, cautiously choosing her words. "Our world, it is gone." A flicker of recognition crossed the faces of the beings, a touch of shared pain that transcended the barrier of species. Then, Tom pointed to their ship. "Can we help? Got some engineers back at base." Hope, that fragile flame, ignited once more. Help? Could these beings offer sanctuary when the entire galaxy sought their destruction? "Our ship," Ilara began, then hesitated. Could she trust them with the truth, with the terrible secret that could doom them all? The decision was ripped from her hands. A sleek, predatory shape streaked across the cloudless sky. A collector scout ship. The aliens, these humans, stiffened, turning their faces towards the new threat. "Damn hell," Tom muttered, then gestured urgently. "Hide. Get back inside your ship. That thing will see you out here." The Fass didn't need urging. They scrambled back into their battered refuge, hearts pounding as the cruel ship circled, no doubt having picked up their damaged energy signature. Ilara watched from a cracked viewport as the humans scattered, seeking cover behind rocks. One, a female with short, dark hair, raised a metal tube to her eye and aimed it at the ship. A flash streaked towards it, harmlessly glancing off a shield, but the humans had made their intentions clear. These were no meek farmers. In the tilt of their shoulders, in the set of their jaws, Ilara saw a grim echo of her own desperate people. These humans, it seemed, were warriors too. The collector ship landed with a hiss, its gleaming hull a stark contrast against the desolate landscape. A hatch slid open, disgorging a grotesque menagerie of heavily armed aliens. Some lumbered like monstrous insects, others slithered on scaled bellies. Ilara shuddered, the memory of Iridia's fall rising like bile in her throat. Among them walked a singular figure, tall and imposing. Even from a distance, the aura of cruel addiction clung to him, a miasma of desperation that made Ilara's blood run cold. This was their leader, the architect of their suffering. "Find them," the leader rasped in a dozen guttural tongues his translator unit echoed. "They cannot hide forever." The collectors fanned out, their alien senses no doubt attuned to the faint traces of Fass life and the lingering scent of their blood. But the humans lay in wait, hidden among the unforgiving rocks. Through the viewport, Alara witnessed a scene that sent shockwaves down her spine. One of the lumbering insectoid collectors, caught unaware, suddenly pitched forward, an arrow protruding from its armored back. Another staggered, its throat pierced by a thin projectile. Silent hunters, those humans were. Ambush predators defending their territory, their strange weapons spitting death across unexpected distances. The collector leader roared in fury, scrambling for his own sidearm. Chaos erupted. The blue sky hummed with exchanged energy blasts as the hunters and the hunted clashed. And through it all, the Fass ship remained hidden, overlooked in the sudden conflict. Yet, Alara knew their sanctuary was precarious. They owed their survival to the chance timing of their crash and to the humans' willingness to fight on their behalf. A debt hung unspoken between them, as heavy as the alien stars above. The battle raged like a wildfire across the stony plains. Though the humans fought valiantly, the collectors, driven by the frenzy of addiction, possessed raw power the humans couldn't match. One by one, the blue-eyed defenders fell. Tom, their brave, gruff leader, was cut down in a spray of laser fire, while the dark-haired woman who defied the scout ship now limped, her leg twisted at a grotesque angle. Alara clutched the edge of a console, nausea turning her stomach. This was what the Fass had brought upon this unsuspecting world. Violence. Death. They were a plague, infecting even the kindest of hearts with the echo of their doom. "We have to go," Talir whispered urgently, his green eyes wide with fear. "They'll find us soon. It's only a matter of time." He was right, but where could they flee? The galaxy was a vast, uncaring place filled with those who would tear them apart for a single drop of their blood. Alara buried her face in her hands, her soft fur damp with tears. Then a different voice, older and wiser, broke through her despair. Lyra, the scientist, gripped her shoulder. "There may be another way, Alara. A way to help these humans, and perhaps ourselves." Her words were hesitant, filled with a mix of desperation and a strange, dawning realization. "Our blood. A weapon!" Talir's eyes flared. His young face, always soft with the empathy of a healer, now twisted with a grim determination. "But unrefined. It induces the high," Lyra finished, her voice gaining strength. "But we have the knowledge, the ancient remedies of Iridia. What if we could isolate the addictive properties, turn them against our enemy?" Alara blinked, stunned into silence. It was a monstrous thought to fight horror with horror, but the gleam in Lyra's eyes mirrored the desperate fire burning within her own heart. "We must tell the humans," she said, her voice firm. The Fass were no warriors, but they were survivors, and in survival sometimes lay the strangest, most terrible of victories. With the battle still raging outside, Alara emerged from the ship. In her hands she carried a crude container, the remnants of their emergency medical supplies mixed with a hastily distilled sample of her own blood. Her heart pounded in her chest, each step a perilous gamble. The wounded woman, propped against a rock, saw her approach. Surprise and suspicion warred with the agony on her face. Yet, in her eyes, Alara saw the faint glimmer of desperate hope, perhaps the strongest weapon in a cornered warrior's arsenal. Alara knelt beside her. "I can help," she began, her translator struggling to convey the delicate complexities of the Fass physiology. Our blood." Understanding dawned in the woman's gaze, a grim sort of understanding. Then, determination. She nodded once, sharply. Word spread quickly amongst the remaining humans. Shock rippled through them, quickly followed by the cold fire of resolve. These were hard people, tempered by their own history. Unlike the many alien races, addiction was not an unknown beast to them. They had seen it ravage their own, understood its insidious destructiveness. The remaining Fass emerged from their hiding place, carrying their meager stores of medicinal knowledge. Under Lyra's guidance and the humans' watchful eyes, they began a frantic field laboratory, working amidst the chaos of battle. One of the younger humans, a boy named Ben with the same wide-set blue eyes as the fallen Tom, helped Alara stabilize the addictive element of their blood. With trembling hands, they loaded the crude mixture into the humans' strange, tube-shaped weapons. "This won't kill them?" Alara warned, guilt twisting in her stomach at the monstrous path they were taking. "But it will. Overwhelm them. Distract them." The battle turned. As the human hunters fired their tainted ammunition, the collectors began to falter. Some roared in a strange ecstasy, their focus shattering. Others writhed with overwhelming cravings, their weapons dropping from their grasp. The humans, seeing the sudden tide shift, pressed their attack, their grim battle cries echoing across the desolate landscape. It was brutal, a desperate brawl fueled by two very different types of desperation. The collector leader, seeing his forces disintegrate in a frenzy of addiction, roared in fury. But it was a roar filled with fear, his cruel confidence replaced by the unmistakable desperation of a cornered beast. He aimed his weapon at the remaining cluster of Fass, his translator device spewing threats. Alara pushed herself in front of her people. "Your hunt ends here," she barked, her voice surprisingly strong even as she trembled inside. "You will leave Earth, and you will never return." The collector hesitated, torn between the insatiable hunger for Fass blood and the growing chaos of his own troops. Then, with a final snarl of frustration, he turned and fled back towards his ship. His remaining loyal soldiers scrambled behind, leaving a battlefield littered with the bodies of the fallen and the twitching, incapacitated forms of their comrades. The battle was over. Victory, a bitter, unexpected victory born from desperation, hung heavy in the ash-tinged air. The remaining humans gathered around the Fass, their faces a mixture of exhaustion, triumph, and a lingering wariness. Sarah, the woman Alara had first encountered, limped forward, leaning heavily on Ben for support. "You saved us," she rasped. "Saved us all." But her voice held no accusation, no trace of disgust at the terrible gift the Fass had brought to their world. Instead, Alara saw in her eyes a weariness mirroring her own, and beneath that, a flicker of understanding. "Can you—" Sarah hesitated, the unspoken question weighing heavy between them. Could they remove this curse from the Fass blood? This unnatural power that warped and twisted? Lyra stepped forward, her aged brow furrowed in concentration. "Perhaps. Our understanding of our own biology is fragmented after the attack on Iridia. But there is a chance." And in that hesitant admission, an unspoken pact settled between the two species. The galaxy's weakest creatures hunted for their potent blood, and a species that had battled their own inner demons for generations now stood united by a strange, perilous symbiosis. Earth did indeed become a sanctuary, but one built on hard work and a shared fear of the galaxy beyond. The humans, with their history of overcoming addiction, proved surprisingly resilient to the diluted Fass blood. Even the injured warriors who'd been exposed to the intoxicating substance showed no signs of lingering cravings or withdrawal. Instead, they found focus. Their minds became sharper. Their honed discipline gained a bedrock strength drawn from the subtle techniques taught by the Fass. Gone were the days of reckless bravado. The humans became quiet and efficient, strategists hardened by survival. The Fass, under Lyra's guidance, toiled within makeshift laboratories set up in abandoned human structures. Their healing knowledge, coupled with the strange advanced technology of humanity, created rapid breakthroughs. They slowly, painstakingly, disentangled the addictive component from their blood. It was a process fraught with trial and error. Yet with each step, the horrifying gift that had brought them to Earth's doorstep was neutralized. The Fass were shedding their galactic curse, transforming it into a foundation for understanding and healing. News of Earth, the quiet haven where the terrifying Fass blood held no sway, spread quietly amongst trusted channels. Those humans who had seen their loved ones consumed by drugs and intoxicating substances made the pilgrimage. Guided by the Fass's knowledge, they found, if not a cure, then a way to manage, to tame the demons of addiction within themselves. The collectors, those who still craved the potent blood, found Earth an impossible fortress. The remaining Fass, scattered across the galaxy, were hunted, yes, but a network of resilient humans now kept vigil. Some were former addicts, finding redemption in protection. Others were warriors, forever indebted to the small, gentle creatures who'd become catalysts to a new, stronger breed of humanity. Elara would often gaze out across the desolate training fields of Earth, watching human and Fass side by side, honing their bodies and minds in disciplined unison. No longer hunter and hunted, but bound together by survival, by the bitter sting of loss, and by the quiet, relentless pursuit of peace in a galaxy that valued none of it. The years turned on Earth, its days were longer, its gravity heavier, but to the Fass it became the only true home they'd known since the fall of Iridia. Elara, no longer captain of a doomed ship, became an elder in a new community. The first generation of Fass children born on Earth grew strong and healthy, blessedly free of the terrible potency that had driven their ancestors across the stars. Lyra, her fur dappled with silver, spent her days in the labs, a constant hum of human technology, a backdrop to the rhythm of mortar and pestle, the ancient ways of her people enduring. Her knowledge, combined with the relentless thirst for solutions inherent in human scientists, bore unexpected fruit. They developed a method for early detection, identifying those alien species biochemically susceptible to the dangerous addiction to Fass blood. The data spread quietly through those rare channels of galactic communication where trust outweighed greed. Warnings began to ring out. The blood of the Fass would not bring paradise, but the sharp, sudden sting of destruction. One day, a transmission arrived. It was halting, full of static, but carried the unmistakable mark of a Fass communication array. Not a plea for help, not a broken cry of desperation, but a message filled with coordinates and hesitant hope. Another ship, carrying the last survivors of Iridia, had found sanctuary, not on a planet, but on a vast, self-sustaining human space station. It was a marvel of ingenuity, fueled by the desperate need to protect and heal those broken by the galaxy's hunters. The human and Fass elders, a council of scarred hearts and relentless minds, met under the strange alien sun of Earth. Their voices were a chorus of gentle hisses and the clipped tones of the humans. "We offer a choice," Elara stated. The Fass, no longer the galaxy's pariahs, now led the negotiation. "Leave the paths of addiction, find another way, and find healing here. Continue as you are, and you will find Earth and its allies forever beyond your reach." The choice, in the end, was never truly a choice. Greed warred with a newfound flicker of fear within the collectors' ranks. They had seen their own turned into raving caricatures of their former selves, lost to the hunger their leaders had once promised would bring them glory. And so, slowly, the collectors dwindled. Some, the most hardened, vanished into the vast reaches of space, forever chasing a dwindling supply of untainted Fass blood. Others, broken and desperate, accepted the offer, their shattered bodies and minds finding a long, arduous road to rehabilitation within the human stations. Earth became a strange, beautiful mosaic. Fass villages hummed with the soft sound of their native tongue, their homes built with natural materials in harmony with their adopted world. Human settlements echoed with the clang of industry and barked commands, their towering structures an imposing counterpart against wind-swept plains. Sarah, the woman who'd first offered them hesitant welcome, aged gracefully, her limp a constant reminder of the battle that forged their alliance. Her place as a revered leader was taken by her own daughter, Maya, raised with a deep understanding of both cultures, speaking the Fass language as fluently as her own. Children filled the echoing corridors of former human schools. Lithe, furred bodies of young Fass learned the mathematics of trajectory and the history of Earth's wars alongside human children. It was a strange sight to witness these two species separated by light years, now bound irrevocably by circumstance and a shared will towards a better future. Yet peace, that most elusive of goals, was never a guarantee. The galaxy remained a dangerous place, rife with those who saw opportunity in the growing power of Earth and its unique allies. Rumors of new alliances, whispers of discontent among the more belligerent alien empires reached them through carefully monitored channels. Ben, no longer a boy, but a seasoned warrior, stood at the forefront of defense. The Fass-enhanced focus and human discipline had forged in him a commander unlike any the galaxy had seen, compassionate but relentless, analytical yet decisive. He, Elara, Maya, and Lyra formed the heart of Earth's council, their meetings stretching long into the nights. Humans and Fass strategizing and planning, ensuring their haven would never again be vulnerable as Aridia once was. And above them all, the stars shone, a constant reminder of the vastness of the universe and the precious beacon their fragile collaboration had become. Earth was no longer solely a human world. It was a testament to survival, to adaptation, and to the strange, enduring power of unity forged in the crucible of desperation. The whispers had been true. It began as isolated skirmishes on the outer edges of monitored space, sleek, unfamiliar ships bearing no identifying markers. Then came the attack, a coordinated, brutal strike against a network of early warning outposts crewed by humans and a handful of Iridian-born Fass. Word reached Earth like a fist to the gut. The galaxy, it seemed, had not forgotten, merely lay in wait. Ben stood before the council, his young face lined with a determination that sent a chill down Alara's spine. "They will underestimate us," he said. "They will come expecting another easy target." Maya slammed a hand on the strategy table, eyes blazing. "Then we will make them regret their hubris." Lyra, always the voice of reason, tempered the fire with caution. "But we must draw them away from Earth. Our children, they cannot be exposed to this violence." And so, the plan was set. They would meet the enemy in that vast, cold expanse between stars, a defensive maneuver that was also a bold declaration. For the first time in centuries, a fleet would answer an attack on the Fass not with pleas for mercy, but with weapons bared. Human battleships, augmented with stealth tech born from Fass empathy with the subtle vibrations of space itself, moved alongside cobbled-together Fass cruisers. Inside, warriors of both species stood side by side, a scene that would have been unthinkable mere decades ago. The battle that erupted amongst the distant asteroids was unlike anything the galaxy had witnessed. The humans, trained to an impossibly high standard, moved with a preternatural calm. And the Fass, once symbols of weakness, deployed a terrifying new weapon, distilled samples of their own blood, chemically forced back into its addictive state, deployed not against the enemy, but into the very fabric of space. Clouds of intoxicating vapor swirled, disorienting enemy ships. Their crews succumbed not to death, but to the consuming hunger for a prize just out of reach. The battle became a grotesque parody, once proud warriors descending into a frenzy, tearing at their own ships, their own comrades, in search of a fix they would never find. Victory was bitter, bought with the sacrifice of brave souls, but it was victory nonetheless. Message pods launched from the broken enemy ships, scattering across the galaxy, a warning and an invitation. Leave Earth and the Fass alone, or face not swift destruction, but a slow, humiliating decline fueled by the insatiable craving their own greed had birthed. The galaxy, vast and ever-changing, shifted in response. Some fell into chaos, their empires crumbling under addiction. Others raged but found Earth a fortress unyielding. And a select few, tempered by their own struggles, saw in this unique alliance a path to a different future. The path of discipline, of healing, of strength drawn not from exploitation, but from within. The galaxy would never be a truly peaceful place, but Earth, that improbable sanctuary, stood as a testament to the fact that even in darkness, the smallest flicker of hope, if nurtured and defended fiercely, can illuminate an entirely new way forward.